Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the TWRS Fireside Chat. This is going to be an exciting one here. Of course, we're super excited about Season 3. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, Vincent Crow is in the top right, and we have James Watson in the top left. How are you fellas doing today?
Doing good.
I'm good.
All right, glad to see that you guys are good. I mean, really, people of few words, that's for sure. But definitely, really excited, guys. Of course, we definitely want to thank before we even get any too much further into this, all of our supporters. I mean, I think over 2 years. I think we've been doing this setup shop thing, and even longer as a team. But it's just been awesome to see the growth here, and I think we're really starting to hit a stride, if you will, and it's all I say due in part to our builders and of course the supporters that actually uh, you know support financially as well, and just the guys that go out there and drive as well, guys. I mean, wouldn't you say? Don't y'all want to say thank you to everybody that supports us?
Yeah, we owe so much to everyone who's here and working on all this and working with us and just putting in so much time and effort trying to help grow this organization from what it's been to what it is now. Like the this team is made by the people that's on it. We wouldn't be anywhere close to what we are without being blessed with a lot of incredible people doing a lot of work. So thank you guys for everything you do for us and all the time you spend with us.
One
Yeah,
hundred
I
percent.
don't think we can say it enough just how much we appreciate the people who make it a community. I think we always talk about that. I saw so many comments today on just like a post about, where's the best place to get setup shops. And it was so funny that so many people who I know, I know quite well, I know very little about them because they're just not in my purview. We're saying, Team Watson Racing, and it's like, don't just buy setups, be part of something. Don't just buy, don't just buy the setup for the week. It's like join the team. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really cool. Most of them were customers, and it's like wow, like these people pay us, and like, but they are still giving us more. Like they're not just giving us money; they're giving us their energy. They're giving us their time, and we really appreciate that. I think I said this last time I was on the Fireside Chat. It's like it means a lot that people with full-time jobs will go out of their way to spend a little bit of extra time that they have, the very little bit of free time they have to spend with us.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
No, I 100% agree, and that they're willing to run our logos as well. Like they're not even they're willing to do that even though they're paying us for a service. They identify with the community so much, and I love that. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of that here lately as well. I mean, just seeing guys kind of just show up, just subscribe. They've been subscribed for a week or two, and they're like, "Oh, I just love this!" Like, and that just warms your heart. It really does to see someone that responds so positively to the community that we've worked so hard to build, right?
100%.
100% and then some.
Yeah, and of course we talked about the excitement for season 3, and I think we should talk a lot about what the changes that we've been kind of working on. Huge deal that I feel like our NASCAR program, and I think we've said it maybe not in public, but I feel like our NASCAR program is at its height right now. We have revitalized it in such a way that I feel like we're running on all cylinders. I mean, we have John and Travis Dart who joined us, probably what a month or so ago, and they've been just nailing every week the setups on the Xfinity side, and I think that was one of our, I'd say weaker programs, not to say that it was weak because I think we've definitely had some strong setups sometimes, and it was like, but I feel like those guys are really getting consistent, and they're also they kind of brought their own house drivers or team drivers with them, and they're out there running in the Xfinity. So, and that has led us to kind of to make a big decision when it comes to offering individual
Hmm.
NASCAR vehicle subscriptions. That was something I know, guys, that we were a little bit, I think, worried about doing because we thought that the B and C would not get as much support. But I think that now, Mitchell Hunt has also been
Mhm.
consistently putting out awesome setups as well, and so that's something that we're super happy that we're able to do, right? To have that individual setup that you can. I think it's in a lot of ways a easy way for someone to try out our setups
Mhm.
and then like, okay, well, I like this. Okay, let me go for the full subscription. And we even saw that happen
Yeah, that
yesterday.
already. I was just gonna
Yeah.
bring that up. I was about to interject to be like, "Well, that actually literally just happened," where someone was like, "Okay, I'll do the 15 because I run NASCAR consistently, and it's cheaper after just 2 weeks of running, of the cup sets, and that's comparable to any other setup shop." So, and then they went to the full thing. But I just want to touch on, John and Travis Dart. It's not just that they've been doing a really good job building the setups. I think I think we've had good setups in the B car in the past, but I think
Mhm.
what's really impressed me about those two is their willingness to be wrong, their willingness to miss the mark at the beginning of like before the week starts. They're like, "Hey, this is our first base," and it's like, "Hey, this isn't really working the way I think you wanted it to," and then they're willing to learn. And in the last month, I feel like they've gotten so good, which is why we had the confidence to do this.
Mhm.
They've just gotten so good in the last month, and really, I think have proven to all three of us just how committed they are to not just doing something for the money. They really, really have a passion for it. So I really was
Yeah.
impressed with how they've handled adjustments throughout the week, adjustments from updates, taking in information from customers, walking customers through maybe different like breaking points at Sonoma, for example, where it's like, okay, you think the car is kind of heavy, but this is a car that's very different than next gen, and then kind of helping you find the differences and the minutia of that. I was really impressed by that. I really, really appreciate both those guys tremendously. And what a cool combination, that we have now. We have one of the best long time uh, road to pro builders in our truck field. We have a tag team working on the Xfinity who are like committed to that car, which is awesome because that car kind of feels like its own thing. And then obviously you can't stop Kenny Coppola, who's
Oh yeah.
they call him King Kenny for a reason. I mean, we know what Kenny's capable of. He's built for us, but he's also seemingly built for a lot of other people too throughout the from time to time, because everyone knows that King Kenny is number one in the next gen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
for
like
sure.
another thing with the darts too is that they've also like given suggestions and other ideas they've had for the shop as a whole. So they're also committed to helping us and growing us in ways that aren't necessarily on the track too. So having
Mhm.
a commitment like that is also huge, and that also just kind of further bleeds into everything else and further building us up that way as well.
Yeah, I want to say as well, Mitchell recently as well made a comment in the Truck Talk in our Discord, one of the subscription channels, and he asked all of the house drivers and subscribers what kind of he asked for suggestions. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
love that he was so willing to accept other people's guidance and like what do you want from me, and I think that's really just awesome. I think that is the kind of atmosphere we've always wanted here at Team Watson, and I'm super happy as well of the new house drivers that we've recruited. Of course, just one to mention Rodrigo Logo, who has been
Mm-hmm.
a kind of a silent fan. Or not, I shouldn't say silent. He's just kind of been a
Yeah.
fan of ours from afar. He's liked our Facebook post for a long time. I know because I manage the social media. I see it all the time. Rodrigo Logo liked your post, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm like, who is this guy? And then of course we've talked about him before, and he said that it has always been we're one of the setup shops he's wanted to join, and we were like, well, come on over. I mean, and
Yep.
automatically hits the ground running and helps out. I mean, he provided some adjustments to the setup for the next gen. And
Mm-hmm.
I ran a race yesterday, and I know y'all are gonna be like roll your eyes like Brian's talking about. Oh, he won a race, but no.
No, go off, King. You deserve it.
But I mean, I jumped in the Iowa race and was able to win on the setup. That of course Kenny built, but with some adjustments from Rodrigo, and it just worked flawlessly. It was so good. And so Rodrigo has automatically. I'm a fan of Rodrigo, and I really like that. He's our first, I think, Argentinian that has joined the team.
Yes.
So that's really cool to see that for sure. And then we got Clayton White, who's going to be predominantly running the trucks. So we're really expanding when it comes to getting some fresh talent. And I also do want to mention, we got to mention one of our old buddies has come back as well, Jerry Walters.
Yes,
Jerry,
Jerry. I was
Jerry,
talking to him last
Jerry,
night.
Jerry.
Yeah,
And
Jerry
I want to touch
Walters.
on the Rodrigo point because you mention it, but I think that is just such a like a total encircling of like what we are here. It's like, okay, Kenny builds it, and then we're running it. We're running practice. We get the car even better before the race starts. And Rodrigo, who again is just a house driver, um, but it's not just a house driver. We're all on the same team together,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh hey, I think that we could run with these changes. I'm not gonna say them out loud, but I think everyone knows what they are. And I think that they're going to work really, really well, but the car's going to need to have adjustments. And Kenny basically helps him come up with the right adjustments. And sure enough, they hit, and they hit very well, as per Brian's win. Not that you can't win without the best setup in the history of Iowa, Brian, but I don't think it hurt you last night.
No, I mean I know. I just it was really good with the braking adjustment. I think and of course the gear was probably the best thing for it. I mean, the brakes. I had noticed that I was locking up the tires later in the run. At about lap 30, it started locking up into one, and Rodrigo was having the exact same problem apparently, and made an adjustment, and he was like, "Hey, try this," and sent it over to me, and it worked perfect. I mean, it was perfect the whole run. I mean, I was fast on the launch, especially with it being a little bit of a better gear because it would just launch so good on the restarts. But no, and I loved his determination because he was in the practice, and I just know he turned hundreds of laps. Like, I mean, he just was in there grinding.
But
And
it's not just him. It's been guys like Glenn Ballard, who recently came back after taking a month off. But he's been that way since before he had to take time off, and since he's been back, we've had a lot of different guys. It's not just Rodrigo; it's customers, it's house drivers. When you are a subscriber to us, or you become a house driver with us, you have the same exact room as everyone else does. Customer or no customer, like you have the same access to the same setups or the same discussions. Like we don't have a secret third place that we're having discussions and sharing setups and sharing changes.
Yeah. No,
It's
the
all
setups
together.
are definitely shared. I mean, we have a house driver channel that people talk in, but it's different. Like the setup itself is shared directly to the customer. And Kenny Coppola will even tell you, Dart
And
Brothers
you're
will even
in
tell you, this is
testing
the same
sessions
setup.
with him. Like you're in testing sessions with the guy who's doing the work.
100%.
That's like the best part.
Yeah, no, 100%. And of course, so I mean, our NASCAR program is firing on all cylinders. I got to say, it's probably the best it has ever been since we opened the doors and started selling setups. I mean, I know I usually try not to use, sayings like that, like we're the best we've ever been, but I can't help but say, I think that's honest, the truth. I think that is the truth. We're the best we've ever been on the NASCAR side. Now, I don't think anybody can really argue with that. But I also, I think what's really exciting as well is we have even more developments that, of course, we've come up with this, I do believe, American Open Wheel subscription, which is really exciting. Of course, we got Russell Despain, I do believe. I think that's how you say his last name. Is that right, James?
Despain.
Despain. And, of course, we got Nagisa Yoshikawa, of course, who we've had for a long time, kind of tag teaming Indy Pro 2000 and IR18, both in one subscription for $15 a month. I mean, and I got to say, we saw a lot of speed as well as, sales for the Indy car at Indianapolis for the Indy 500. We saw, I think, record-breaking Dallara 18 setup sales there, and that just was really inspiring for me.
Yeah, we were able to show serious speed and mix it up with a lot of the established top tier teams amongst the IndyCar iRacing community. And considering the fact that this is going into Russell's second full season of dealing with the car, period. Like the fact that we've already shown those flashes of brilliance in such little time of dealing with the car, I have no qualms in thinking that Russell can, because he's already at a great level as it stands now with not as much experience. So give the man some more time to hone his craft, and could be putting together some things that will make some serious noise against some serious noise makers.
Yeah,
And
for
I mean,
sure.
we're great at Road America this week too, so that helps. For those who are like, oh, it sounds like you guys are really good on ovals. It's like, yeah, but we're also really good at Road America too this week at the road course. So I really have been hoping more people get into IndyCar now that they've updated they've not updated, they've announced that we are having an IndyCar. How do I word this, James? Because there's the Indy Pro Series and then there's the Indy iRacing Pro Series.
Yeah, IndyCar Pro qualifying series.
Yeah, yes. It's the road to pro for IndyCar. Like that's the easiest way I've been able to explain it to people. So that's coming up, and obviously we already have an amazing IndyCar team. So anyone who's interested in maybe just trying it out, like this might be kind of a way for you to step into pro qualifying and iRacing because it's going to be new, it's going to be fresh. You're going to have a great support team kind of getting on the ground level. It might be a really cool experience for a lot of people who've been thinking about trying to the road to pro route. Maybe this is
Mhm.
this is the way you do. You dip your toes in it with something like IndyCar that maybe is less intense than the iRacing Coke series. I mean, let's be honest, that's just such a pinnacle right now. There's so much eyes on it that it's just so hard to break through that glass ceiling. Like this might be a good way for. I mean, that's what I'm using it for. It's like dipping my toes into what it takes to qualify for a pro series.
Yeah, especially it
Yeah,
being so new,
and
this could be a huge opportunity for sure.
yeah, and if you're if you're new to open wheel racing in general, and you need to take time to develop your experience levels, it's a perfect time to jump in the Indy Pro, or as more known in the community, the PM18, which is two steps below the IndyCar on the road to Indy ladder. It's a great way to get your feet wet, uh, understanding how open wheel cars behave, how American open wheel cars behave specifically, allows you to help um, build Formula Car iRating. You know, the series, the official series. It's smaller than the majority of the official series out there, so there's a much more community based feel. You get a lot more clean racing. There's a lot less ridiculous stuff out there, a lot less dumb moves that you have to be worried about. And you know, it's the it shares a similar schedule setup to the D class car, the USF 2000, which is the fourth step on the ladder. You know, you have the Indy car, the Indy Light, or Indy NXT, as they are trying to call it, which is the second, and then you have the PM18 and the USF 2000. So the PM18, you have a lot more easier to deal with tracks, a lot more lower tracks, a good stretch of free tracks, and then we tend to run 2 or 3 ovals in the car season, and the ovals in that car are incredible. It's some of the most fun you'll find on an oval on iRacing, and I will die on that hill. So um, it's a good way to kind of get more experience in this type of the racing world. So I highly recommend you check that car out too. And our SOF for that is Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern, as opposed to 90% of the service having their SOFs on Mondays.
Yeah, that's definitely definitely interesting to see kind of the road to Indy, if you will. And
Mhm.
if maybe you're a budding builder, I mean, maybe reach out to us. There could be some possibilities for being recruited onto the staff here at Team Watson. I
Oh
mean, that
yeah.
would be something we definitely would look for. So if you're listening to this and you want a shot, I mean, definitely
Mhm.
we'd love to hear from you for sure. Next, I think we're going to get into kind of interesting little thing to talk about is the reintroduction of our Rallycross program. Which, I mean, of course, our Rallycross program, I wouldn't say reintroduction. I think it's kind of been there, but it's been a little bit more on the back burner here lately. We've had some guys that have still been out there running, of course, in the Rallycross, but now I got to say it's up and swinging and powerful right now. And of course, to kind of talk a little bit about that, we have Eric Dubois, who is our Rallycross manager, going to be joining us and talking a little bit about some of the exciting things that we have on the horizon for the Rallycross. Eric, how are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely excited to have you for sure. Now, I know we have, I do believe, a new builder that has joined us. He just released his first, kind of bunch of setups this week for week one, Evan McFarlane. Now, tell us a little bit about him. Of course, tell us about yourself as well.
Evan is that quintessential budding star. And I say that with some hesitation because it might take away from his accomplishments already in winning, a championship in NASA and NASA Rallycross, performing at the highest level in racecraft rallycross, and just overall between those and officials, making a name for himself. Whereas anybody who races in the discipline at any level will know who you're talking about when you mention that name, because well, you've obviously chased him. If you've been in a race, you've chased him around the track and seen what he's capable of. But on top of that, he was with KES Industries for quite ever since he hit the scene, up until recently. And um, his set building prowess, I think, was one of the things that makes him, most sought after when you're talking about a talent and whatnot. And so, a little while back, maybe a couple weeks ago, after I had been with the team as one of the affiliates, Slapex Racing over there in NASA, James and I got to talking, and he kind of threw out a little blurb about maybe team manager, and I had to catch my breath for a moment, and that all materialized. And then we started saying, talking about what we were gonna do for the team. And I said to him flat out, I said, there's a lot of great young talent out there and whatnot, but I think my first perspective as first thing to do, I guess, as a team manager, comes from the fact that, like you were saying with some of the folks earlier that were fans of Team Watson, that's where I come from. When I hit the scene in iRacing Rallycross, Team Watson was like that team. It was a something I could only really ever dream about being a part of, and now I'm here. And so that kind of translated into, you know what, James, let's get the team back together. And he didn't even let me finish typing my next sentence when he immediately came back with "Hell yeah" or something to that effect. And from there, it just took, you know capitalizing on the networking I've done over the past year or so, being in the service, and um, all that kind of paying off in terms of bringing names like Marcos Palacio, another Argentinian, um, and a driver back into the fold, who comes with an incredible amount of pace and a notable name also in the discipline. But um, come to find out, James was considering somebody like Evan, unattainable, and to be able to bring a talent like that in terms of a team driver and then a setup builder, um, really just kind of, I think, put a little shot of adrenaline into the RX, little circle that I travel in anyway. And man, it's been a pinch me. Excuse me, it's been a pinch me moment ever since, to say the very least.
Yeah, we're definitely
Yeah,
excited for sure. Go ahead, James.
yeah. To give people a little background on the history of our RX team. There was a time, like about 2 years ago, where you could reasonably say we were like the second best team on the service with the people we had and the successes that we were able to put together, and winning back to back team and driver championships in NASCAR Rallycross, which is like one of the two most renowned rallycross leagues on the entirety of the service. And then, things ebb and flow, people come and go, and after a bit, we went from rolling in with like four total teams in NASA to just having like one, and just having a much smaller handful of guys there. And it's always kind of sad, for me personally, looking, it was like, man, knowing knowing what we used to be. And so trying to figure out a way to get it to that back to that point was always a priority for me, but I just wasn't able to make it come to fruition. And then Eric got involved with us, a couple months ago with the affiliation of Slapex Racing. And Eric started putting in so much work. And like you said, we were talking one day, and he brought up like make me a manager. I'm like, that's actually it's actually a good idea. Yeah, let's do it. And so made him RX team manager, and within the span of like a week and a half, it already became one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made. And within that small stretch of time, our RX team went from non-existent with just one or two guys to probably better than we were back in our heyday. Like you said, like Aaron McFarland, Eric bringing in Evan McFarland was like, because I didn't think that
You said
someone,
no way.
yeah, a talent like that, doesn't really hit free agency. So you're not really. There are some things that are reasonable to think aren't feasible. Because again, how would someone like that hit the free market? But because and this is the thing, everyone in RX knows Eric and loves Eric. I like to, when it comes to Eric, I say he has big golden retriever energy. He's lovable, he's super excited, and everyone just loves being around him. And he puts such a huge smile on everyone's face interacting with him, because he's just so happy and joyful that it's impossible not to let all that energy, build up your own mood, your own vibe. And because of that, because of all the people that Eric has around him and the relationships he's made, like I don't think, if I was to ask Evan if he wanted to be here, I'm not entirely sure that it would have gone down the same way. But because of the fact that Eric is just such a lovable guy, it's just like it's hard it's hard to say no.
I hear that. Well, that's what we need. We need some. We need people that are hard to say no to for sure. And we're glad to
I'm
have Eric.
I'm so excited about it that you can see that weird box right there is my hand. I got a handbrake.
Oh,
I was so excited. I
Put
had
that
to get
thing away.
myself a
Put that thing
handbrake.
away. Put that thing
Huh?
away. Put that thing away. You don't want nothing to do with that thing. No, I'm kidding. I kid a lot in the sessions and whatnot when newcomers are always, what kind of handbrake and handbrake this. I always tell them like this, man. That handbrake is 2 to 4 tenths off of your lap time, and it's merely a bailout. But no, it's I love point being is I love hearing that kind of stuff, Vincent.
I'm
To
excited.
for That's good, man. Get out there and put it to good use, but use it sparingly, and that'll do you a great bit of favor favor when it comes to your lap times. Um, yeah, James is right. I just love the sport, the community as I've come into it, really, embraces that kind of enthusiasm that James was referring to. And it's easy when you love something the way I do when it comes to rallycross and the service. And I think ultimately that's just paid. My love for it has paid dividends, not just for myself, but now for the team, and hopefully that translates into building the the dirt road side of things back up to its former glory, while building the team back to its former glory. And that starts with guys like yourself, Vincent, getting that little excitement going, the handbrake, and jumping in sessions and having some fun, because it's an incredible time. It's an incredible community. Um, you'd be remiss not to at least give it a shot. That's what I tell folks.
100%. It sounds like fun. It looks like fun. I mean, watching that video, of course, of I do believe Evan kind of going around Phoenix. We were talking about that before we actually went live, and you were talking about how crazy fast that was, and just it looked like a lot of fun. Of course, it looks very difficult as well to sort of master. But what are some of your kind of plans to kind of if you will, empower or bring new life to, I'd say, just the Rallycross as a whole, as well as the Team Watson group? I mean, if you've already done so much, what are you have any sneak peeks at future plans?
I think that all just comes from doing what I've been doing, and that's engaging with the community, and you know starts right from helping the new guy, giving him 10 minutes of my time to help him get around the track a little bit better and understand the physics. That gets people excited when you're out there with the folks that have a little bit of pace, and you can name drop a name like Team Watson Racing, which often produces a "oh really" moment, because they've heard the name in other walks of racing, within the service. And um, what what Team Watson Racing is able to deliver is that whole package deal, I guess you could say, in that when you jump in the server, you're welcomed. You ask a question, people are going to chime in and help out. You've got access to the best setups on the planet, and that's already an established name in terms of setups in the RX world. And so just building it, grassroots style that way, and then like I said, giving them the access to the setups that can make the car even that much more fun to drive, really speaks volumes to um, what Team Watson is about, and what you guys have built here. And I've said it 100 times already. James might even be tired of hearing it, but I don't know when it'll ever stop. But I can't thank you all enough for doing what you do. Um, in terms of building what you've all built, and the way that you've done it, and something to be said for doing it the right way. And it's easy to realize that once you become part of the community, um, because people can say a lot. People, words are cheap. When you can see with your own eyes, it's proof. It's that proof in the pudding thing. Um, you know, when it comes to the team and sneak peeks, we've made some moves. That's not to say that we're done and sit back on our hindquarters and try to coast from here, because that ain't gonna happen. Um, we've got a couple other you know drivers that looks like we're gonna be able to get our paws on. And so if we keep if we keep building the way that we've been building and capitalize on what Team Watson brings to our little circle of our little corner of sim racing, that's a win in my book as far as I can see. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely be curious to see some new drivers show up and see. I like that grassroots. I think that's definitely a good way to do it. I know that just being. I wish I could race more, but like sometimes whenever I feel like the best time I've ever had, or the best results when it comes to even selling the setup is just personally talking to someone. Just be
Hmm.
like, hey, Brian,
Yeah.
you look fast out there, Brian. Who are you running today? And I talk to him. I'm running, Team Watson, or just having a
Hmm.
conversation, and you know that definitely goes a long way, and treating people like people, for sure, instead of just a number. So 100%. No, I'm on board. Can't wait to see what you're able to do, Eric. What about you guys? You guys got any questions for Eric?
Nope.
I don't
I've
think so.
I've learned to just, all I gotta do is just, sit back, recline,
Oh
just
man.
let the man do his work.
My question is how be good in car?
That's a good question.
That's a loaded question, and I'll tell you, like,
How be
actually,
fast? I want to
I
be fast. How be fast?
I don't often name drop this tidbit that I give people, but when I'm asked that in sessions and whatnot, I tell people just like this: an incredible driver who I didn't even know what he was actually capable of when I met, when I even knew of him, once told me that when you get it right, when you're doing it right, it'll feel like you're doing it wrong. And the what I mean by that is let the car's momentum and lack of wheel spin, by quick shifting and using a gear higher than you normally use, can really produce a lot of quick results when you learn to get around in the dirt. And that driver who gave me that little tidbit when I was just a wee RX driver wandering the circuits was Alex Betty, and um, that man's stats speak for themselves. And
You
um,
don't have to. You don't have to polish those shoes.
and yeah, those come ready and shined up.
Uh
But
huh.
yeah, it's a complicated thing, the physics, when it comes to rallycross and the sim, and that's the biggest thing is don't the more you overdrive the car, and I still have to remind myself this, and even the top drivers still do it. When you feel like you're going slow, pull back and don't push so hard, and a lot of good things can happen out there. And try to remember that rallycross doesn't equal bumper cars, but that's another story for another day.
What?
Uh,
I thought that was the point of it. I don't know if
you
I
would
want to
not,
learn now.
you would not be alone on that one, but no, it's you know, I don't know. It's people always said to me, well, it's just wheel time. Well, it is wheel time, but unfortunately, by that logic, I should be lapping every top driver in the world because, last calendar year I did just over 2,000 official races in the service, which is almost
Wow.
double the next driver. And in any league or official race that I'm in, 98% of the time, you can take all of the career starts in dirt road of all those drivers combined, and I will have more official starts than all of that combined just in the last calendar year. Um, so by that logic, Evan should be, learning from me or something like that. But no, it's the wheel time, and the other thing I would say too is, given the sheer awesomeness of the community, don't be afraid to speak up in a session. If you jump in a session and something feels weird and you see somebody who's doing it right, don't be afraid to speak up, man. I've never seen a situation where somebody's spoken up um and they've been shunned or anything like that. Everybody out there that is good at what they do in the rallycross community is always willing to um to lend that helping hand, so to speak. And that's, again, speaks to the awesome community that exists. And if anybody out there is wondering what exactly all of this is and what it could look like, go to RaceSpot TV, go to ASN on YouTube, either one of those places, and just and check out their live all of our in both of the Premier Leagues. Every single one of our races are broadcast live with a very professionally and well done broadcast. Segue, natural segue into Team Watson's. People can say what they want about the dedication of the organization to the sport, but James, in the organization, stepped in last season at NASA and put their name on on one of the divisions in the lights. And what more can you say than for somebody like Team Watson to come in and say, "I got you. Let's build this. Let's make something. Let's get some excitement going." And yeah, so again, there's James, broadcasting the races over there, and I heard him. I still remember the first time I heard him say my name on broadcast. I almost fell out of my rig. Like he said my
Man,
name, but no,
you're gonna have James's head. He ain't gonna be able to hold that thing up.
Well, he shouldn't be able to with everything he's done for the sport, in the past, in the present, and definitely in what we have, what we've talked about, would hopefully take place in the future. And we both see eye to eye in the whole fact of, let's get this thing going again. I know it died out a bit, and I hit the scene right after the World Championships died off. But let's, I think the whole, rah rah, let's build this thing back up thing is going to be a fun challenge. I'm up for it. I know James is. I know with the backing of Team Watson and all the other groups and businesses out there that contribute. It's a great thing, and I hope to see it you know get back to where it was, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. We're glad to have you, and hope that it does get back to what it once was. I think that with your help, it's probably going to get there because you definitely seem like a motivated person. But I just don't know how James is going to make his next league races because his neck is going to be snapped from holding his head up.
Well, at his front door right now from Amazon is a sling to help with that, so he's all set. I got that.
But yeah, no, it's definitely great to have you, Eric. We look forward to seeing what you're able to accomplish for sure, and bringing on Evan as well. It's going to be great to see what he's able to accomplish. Such a big name, in the discipline for sure. So love to see it. Team Watson kind of having their hand in every discipline on iRacing is kind of always been our goal. Now, if we just get the short tracks kind of working one of these days, we'll be all right.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean,
boy.
that's the next advert. Like, hey, short track people, hey, if do you like running NASCAR sometimes? Do you really like building short track setups?
Yeah.
I have an offer.
There's a
Sports-
place for you for sure.
Sports car too.
Yo, sports car is the one I want.
Yeah.
Most of our customers are like, man, your NASCAR stuff's great. Where's your short track stuff? And I'm like,
I literally
oh,
got
man,
that
I'm
message
sorry.
today asking me,
Same.
asking me like, "Hey, I love y'all's NASCAR stuff. Do y'all have a short track program?" No, sorry.
No. It's
Yeah,
so
'cause-
hard. It's so hard to just keep your foot in the gas and everything. But we've been growing very strongly. We're doing it the right way. We're not throwing an unfair weight around. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I think the answer should be not yet instead of no.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not
for
yet.
Sure.
Yeah,
Not
not
yet.
yet. That's right.
Yeah, not yet. But we definitely are loving the way Team Watson is looking for season 3, and can't wait to see what, of course, the RX program has, for the future as well. The IndyCar. I mean, we have so much to be excited about for sure, and can't wait to see what it all looks like. Well, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we conclude this fireside chat?
TWRSsetups.com. Join the party.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
exactly right. TWRsetups.com.
Yeah.
All I have to say is woo.
Yeah. That must be the sound of your head underneath the all the weight.
I think it deflated a little bit. Woo.
That was a little bit of the air coming out. But yeah, we definitely
You
want
know,
to.
it's gonna sound like a balloon when you like do this to the end of it.
Yeah. But we definitely want to conclude this Fireside Chat by thanking once again all of our supporters that make all of this possible, all the builders, all the house drivers, everybody that makes all this possible, for sure. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. This is a community, and without people, there is no community. But we thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.